Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. My name is Cody Leach. As always, I'm joined by Christian Garcia. See! Welcome to the program, everybody. Nerdy podcast for the nerds by us nerds. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Black Adam, the newest entry into the DCEU, and kind of what it means for the future of the DC Extended Universe. Before we do that, make sure you like and subscribe if you're on the old YouTubes. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify, just follow us. We do appreciate that. If you want to take it one step further, help support the show, check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. Very easy to find, and a couple dollars goes a long way. We appreciate it. All right, let's start the show as we normally do with some nerdy confessions, where we confess the things that make us nerds. Christian, what you got for me?
Nerdy confession. I bought Gotham Knights. I went against my gut after reading the reviews. I just saw like a lot of people were shitting on it, and I was like, I'm not gonna read it. I want to have my own opinion on it. And then I did see some good stuff, and some people were saying like, oh, it's awesome, it's great. Popped it in, took like an hour for it to load. And yeah, I'm like probably like 2 hours into it, and it's not the greatest. I had high hopes in the beginning. Yeah. The cutscenes were good, the graphics are great, and I was like, oh, okay. They explain, they gave it away. Batman's dead, and they show like what had happened. I was like, all right, like maybe it is gonna be a good game, and you get to pick either Red Hood, Batgirl, Robin, or Nightwing. And I was like, I'm going to go Red Hood, like, see what it's like. And I can't switch, and I wish I can because he's really slow.
Yeah.
He's really, really slow, and the physics is off. Like, and I don't know if maybe he's just a heavyset, slow character, but and I'm hoping maybe if I later on get to switch, that it plays a little better. But I don't understand, like, why didn't they just use the mechanics of the other Gotham games?
Because it's a different studio.
No, I thought it was Rocksteady, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, it is? It's different.
It's different. Rocksteady, their new game is going to be the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Okay.
So this is by a different studio, and I think that's kind of the problem, is that a lot of people thought it's just going to be like Arkham Knights, but with 4 different characters, or I mean Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. And it's not. It's just like I don't know what other games that studio has done, but it's kind of like a cheap knockoff version of that.
It really is. No, I mean, like that's a great way of putting it. But the thing is, they really did try to copy. Like, I don't know. I feel like they should get sued because how much like they tried to do the mechanics and even the buttons. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna hop into this because I've replayed those games a bunch of times. Like, oh, I'm gonna get the hang of this real quick. And no, it's off. And like, you press a button, then you wait, and then like it'll move. It's kind of like Elden Ring, where like it doesn't move that fast. Like, okay, so I have to get used to the timing of this.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm gonna finish it because it was like $70, and I just ever since playing Magic, everything equates to decks and cards. I'm like, that's 2 fucking decks I could have bought right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've kind of held off on that one. I figure I'll try it out when it goes on sale or something, but yeah, from the way they showed it, I'm just like, this looks like a cheaper, shittier version of, Arkham City. And, what made those games so great was how fluid the combat was, and how, the stealth and the combat were like tied together so well. And this one just looks like it wasn't going to be as good. It looks like, kind of like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, where
it's another great way of putting it. Yes.
Where it's like, it's just a very basic thing, and the fun is supposed to come from doing like multiplayer online, having 2 or 3 of your buddies with you kind of.
That's when I was debating, when I saw the reviews, and then I saw that it's actually co-op where you can have 2 people, or 2 people can play at the same time. I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to do it. I was like, on the chance that Cody gets it, we can play this and see how it goes. But yeah, man, I'll probably tell you to save your money. Don't do it. I'll just suffer through it.
Yeah, maybe you'll go on sale for Black Friday. Maybe I'll pick it up then or something. My nerdy confession is I just started playing a new game on the phone called Marvel Snap that's taken the nation by storm.
I keep getting like ads everywhere for that.
Yeah, so apparently in its first week of coming out, I think it's made Marvel like $5 million or something like that. It's something
made Disney $5 million.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's a fun game. It's free to play. Obviously,
until you want to buy stuff, different skins or different.
Exactly.
I want Professor Hulk. I want Savage Hulk.
One thing is that I think that it's not set up very well to $2 million launch week revenue. It's not set up very well for those microtransactions because, like, I went in there and I'm like, ooh, I got all this gold, all these power gems or whatever the fuck they're called, and I'm like, ooh, I would like to buy like new cards or whatever, but you can't unlock new cards that way, which I mean I guess is fair because that way it would be pay to win if you could just kind of buy whichever cards, but like the only real way to get new cards is leveling up, and you can help yourself level up by spending real money in it if you want, but for the most part it is a pretty decent free to play game.
Thanks.
And it's very fast paced. There's only 6 rounds or 6 turns, I should say. And you're basically playing to control these 3 different zones. The first turn, the first zone unlocks and it shows you what that zone's power is. And then on subsequent turns, the other ones open up and tell you what their powers are. You can play cards in any zone, anytime. But when the power is revealed, sometimes it'll be like, oh, only cards power 4 and higher can go here, or like you won't be able to put cards in this zone after turn 3, stuff like that. So there's enough variation in gameplay where the small deck size doesn't really hurt you at all. So it's a fun game, pretty quick, fast paced. I don't know how long it's going to keep me engaged. Magic: The Gathering is definitely a more involved game with way more, cards and mechanics and stuff. And it's a lot more rewarding when you pull off a cool combo in Magic than it is on Marvel Snap. But hey, it's a fun, if you're waiting in line at DMV or whatever, it's a fun game to check out.
I don't know if I can get into a mobile card game, not after having cards again.
Yeah.
And opening packs.
Yeah.
And I know you can open chests in like a mobile game, but it's not the same.
That's right. Yeah, it's definitely not the same. And there's, your deck is so much smaller. I forget. I think it's like a 12 card deck or something, or 16 cards or something like that. Very small deck size. So you play most of your cards at every game, kind of thing. So, but yeah, fun. Check it out. Marvel Snap. It's sweeping the world right now. We'll see. Hopefully, it has some good longevity. Maybe they'll make a physical version of it if it does well enough. Who knows? Okie dokie. Well, I think we'll take a quick little break. Actually, before our break, let's do our spoiler-free review of Shazam. Should people go? Not Shazam. Black Adam.
That's what it says when he turns.
Exactly. Shazam. Yeah, let's do our spoiler-free review. So for those of you who haven't seen it, don't worry. We'll kind of give our opinions of the movie, let you know if it's worth seeing in theaters. What did you think, Christian?
I love The Rock. I'm trying to think if there's a Rock movie I saw that I didn't like. I can't think of it. I'm sure there's not great Rock movies.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. He was great. I would say go watch it for the action.
Yeah. That's kind of the same thing for me. I think it's fine. It's definitely not it's not going to break a bunch of new ground as far as superhero movies go, but the action was great. I thought the action and special effects were phenomenal. I think that the main problems I had about it, and we'll get into it in more detail after our little break, once we're talking spoilers, I think the main problem is there was a lot of plot holes, and some of the character acting wasn't great, but when the director or whoever actually let the charisma of certain actors come through, then it was great. Like there was some witty lines and stuff like that made it really fun. But overall, it was entertaining. Like I'd throw it on a Sunday afternoon if I was bored, kind of thing. But it's not one of those things where I was like, oh my god, DC movies will never be the same. It's
Well, that is true, but it's only because James Gunn has joined.
yeah.
He's now going to be like the Kevin Feige of the DC.
Yeah.
So
that is some nerdy news that James Gunn, and I forget the other guy's name. There's two of them.
doesn't matter. James Gunn is there. That's
Yeah.
all we care about.
Is now being like the head executive producer of the DCEU movies, which I think is what they needed.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm happy. I'm actually way happy because this means that we're probably going to start seeing some better content coming out of DC. Like, I love Peacemaker, so I love what he did with it, and we'll probably see more of that.
And the new Suicide Squad was great.
Yes, the new Suicide Squad, which I guess recently I was reading it didn't do too well. I thought it did well in theater, but I guess it didn't. I don't know. I wasn't tracking the money. But what makes me sad is we're not going to get any James Gunn in Marvel. So
yeah, well, I think he said Guardians 3 was going to be like his last deal anyway, or something. So,
but at the same time, I do want to see James Gunn be able to do some more R-rated stuff on the DC side, because I feel like Disney is still kind of like dabbling in it, like kind of like pressing their toes in it, but they're not going full yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think if you love or hate James Gunn, doesn't really matter. I think the main point is that there is one overarching person in control who can tie these threads together and make
take that shit away from Zack Snyder. Fucking he's had enough time with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I have high hopes for it, and I think this, this movie, for reasons we'll talk about under spoilers, can help kind of do a soft reboot almost of the DCEU, and hopefully lead it down a road of like cohesive, storylines and stuff that all meld into each other. But we'll see. I think that the change in leadership at Warner Brothers has, so far at least, seemed to be a good thing. I know people were upset about Batgirl getting canceled, but I think that perhaps that movie didn't fit into their idea of a more cohesive cinematic universe. And hopefully, it leads to better things.
Yeah, unless they're trying to cater to, was it the MCU crowd? Who knows? Maybe they're the
DCEU.
The DC. Doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, DC Comics. I think that if you just tell the stories of the DC Comics or Marvel Comics, you're going to get representation anyway. Because they are very representative comics. At least they have been in the newer, storylines, which is what most companies seem to kind of rely on, right? There's a lot of Marvel stuff that is taken from the Ultimate Universe. DC has a lot of stuff from the New 52 universe, so I think we'll see plenty of diversity. And
who knows? Maybe they'll make Superman gay. Or no, it's his kid. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
his kid.
who they're calling Superman because Clark Kent, I guess, retires or something. And he's bi Christian.
I forgot. Right? I'm sorry. You're right. It's bi.
Also, I think they announced that they're going to be doing an HBO show focusing on Jon Stewart's Green Lantern. So that's going to be cool.
Nice.
Very cool. Fun stuff coming out for DC. Yeah, so I'd say see Black Adam in theaters. It's worth the price of admission. It's not going to change your life, but I think you'll have a good time watching it overall. But all right, we're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to talk some spoiler talk of Black Adam. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, guys, we're going to be talking some spoilers of Black Adam, the newest movie in the DC Comics cinematic universe, starring The Rock. Apparently it's been in production, or at least in some form of working on, since about 2008, 2009, with The Rock attached, which is crazy to think because, Iron Man came out in 2008. So they have been trying to get this movie made since the birth of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it came out in 2022, which is crazy.
It's because there was the black in the title. They're like, people aren't going to watch that.
People aren't going to watch black people on screen. Who knows? I mean, there's definitely been some. I mean, Marvel had a similar thing with the guy who used to be in charge of like Marvel TV and stuff, who was like, yeah, there's no one wants to watch a female-led movie, and that's why the Black Widow movie didn't get created till way later. But yeah, let's talk about Black Adam. So it's kind of the Black Adam, for those uninitiated, is essentially a villain from early Captain Marvel, aka Shazam comic books, who basically was he was originally, I think, from Egypt, and he was picked as a champion of the Wizard Shazam to help free his people, but he turned evil like instantly. And then Shazam, or at that point, Captain Marvel.
I agree with
him.
you that he's evil, because in every form I've seen him, he's always been evil. But when I was reading about it, he's actually he flips. He goes back and forth.
In newer comics, he has become kind of a Namor-esque character, where he's an anti-hero of sorts whose only like real concern is protecting Kahndaq, which is his new retconned city that he belongs. Country, maybe? City? Country?
I guess. Country? I guess it did focus on one area.
It's made up. Who cares?
And it's not racist because it's made up. So it's
made up, exactly. So now he's kind of an anti-hero, where he'll team up with the Justice League occasionally if he feels that him helping out will help save his country. But originally he was just a villain. He was like, I think in the original comic pane, he was like, he turns to evil immediately after getting the powers of Shazam.
I think you would have vetted a little bit better.
I mean, that wizard doesn't seem to be doing a very good job of anything. He's like,
I'll take this person. Automatic evil.
Automatic evil. Okay, how about a small child? All right, yeah. I mean, I guess he's fine. But oh no, he's giving his powers to literally everyone else. Cool. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm an eccentric wizard. Woo. One thing I think that's interesting. So with Shazam himself, he gets all of his powers are like the Greek gods, right? Or at least from Greek myth. So he's got like the strength of
Hercules. No, that's Shazam, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about Shazam. So Shazam's got like the strength of Hercules.
It was it was like the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules. I don't remember what the something. Oh, man, what was the A?
Apollo maybe, or something. And then Zeus, like lightning bolts, and then it doesn't matter. Anyway, but what's funny is with Black Adam, it still spells out Shazam, but it's all Egyptian gods. So that's pretty cool.
But you know what? We don't know those Egyptian gods, and I blame fucking American schooling for.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here it is. Wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, stamina of Atlas, power of Zeus, courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. And let's see here for Teth Adam, or Black Adam as he's later known. He's got the stamina of Shu, the swiftness of Horus, the strength of Ammon, wisdom of Zehuti, and the power of Aton, and the courage of Mehen. So those are all like...
He's got the courage of men.
Yeah, Mehen. It's Mehen. So they have this same powers and abilities. It's just weird that they reference different gods for both of them. But basically, he's been asleep for 4,000 years or whatever it was, 2,000 years, and he's woken up by a female actor lady from the. I think she was the one from Morbius. She looked kind of similar to the girl from Morbius, but I think that's where one of the major plot holes comes into play. So Kahndaq is taken over by this gang of bad guys, of mercenaries and stuff, and they're being oppressed. That people of Kahndaq are being oppressed, and so she's like, there's this crown, the crown of magic or whatever. I can't remember all the names.
As you can tell, we studied before this episode.
Yeah. So there's this crown that back in Black Adam's time was created out of Eternium, which is this metal found only in Kahndaq, and the crown was supposedly going to allow the king of Kahndaq to make a deal with demons and stuff and come back and have demon powers. So back in Black Adam's time, he stopped that from happening. But then the wizards were like, "Hey, you're really evil. We're gonna hold you in prison. We're gonna imprison you forever." And that's like one of the first plot holes. It's like, okay, so he goes into the king's castle, stops this king who's gonna have demon powers from hell from taking over the world, and he blows up the entire castle, essentially killing all the guardsmen inside. And the wizards were like, "No, that's bad. You can't do that." Like, well, what the fuck did you give him power for? You gave him power to stop the king from.
He didn't do it the way they wanted him to do it.
Yeah, they wanted. We just thought you would handcuff him or something. We didn't know you would go in there and kill everybody. It's like, oh, you straight up gave him lightning powers. You realize human beings aren't lightning proof. And so yeah, they imprisoned him for that. Then it flash forward to modern day. The main character lady, I should learn her name. She's like,
so the character is Sarah Shahi.
Sarah Shahi. She goes into she's like, we've got to. I know this crown exists because my grandmother used to tell me tales of this or whatever. And you're like, okay, that makes sense, I guess. And her name is Adriana Tomaz, her character's name.
Oops, I thought that was her.
Yeah, Adriana Tomaz.
I thought that was her actual name. Nope,
because if you look at Pierce Brosnan, it says Dr. Fate.
I'm looking at a different IMDb than you. Oh, you're right.
So she's like, okay, I know this crown exists. If this gang if these mercenaries who are oppressing us get their power of this thing, it'll mean terrible things for us and the whole world. So she sets out to find the thing that has not been found for thousands of years, and so she finds it, and it immediately gets into the hands of the bad guys. Almost, because there's a bad guy in her crew who finds it. And it's just floating there, with an open skylight in this mountain, and it was like, man, no one ever went up there and poked around.
Nope.
And so yeah, so that's another big plot hole. Is if she had done nothing, they never would have found that.
No.
Black Adam never would have been released. Nothing bad would have happened, right?
They still would have been oppressed.
Sure. But at least there's not a maniac with demon powers running around. What I mean? So anyway, she goes in there and of course is instantly betrayed by one of her own. And then they also awaken Black Adam, who comes out and just immediately starts murdering people. Which, like I said, the action of the movie is great. I think they could have very easily done like the Superman thing where he's just like punching people and stuff, and they're knocked down, but they're like groaning and stuff on the ground and stuff afterwards. No, he's ripping off arms and throwing people, miles away.
That was cool. I really like that. I did think it was interesting. Like, he just pops up in first decision. Well, I mean, he's evil, so it's for his first decision. I'm gonna kill everyone.
Yeah.
He somehow knew that these two, like the two people that survived, were the ones that released him. He's like, all right, you guys are cool. You guys let me out of here.
Yeah.
You guys are fine.
Yeah, and then he flies away, and she's like, you're the hero we need. He keeps saying, I'm not a hero. We're like, okay. And then he proceeds for the entire movie to do mostly heroic shit, right?
I don't know in the comics if he's supposed to be like Doctor Doom, where, he cares about his people and his, like, kingdom, and that's it. Everyone else can go fuck themselves. I did enjoy that. It did make sense why he decided, all right, well, Kahndaq is still being oppressed, and I'm gonna do something about it. That was still cool, and it did. I think it explains why he was doing heroic things.
Yeah,
because he was saving the group of people, but he was doing it in a very fucking vicious way, which is cool. I like that. Was cool.
I liked it. I mean, I think that's definitely the way you play an anti-hero. Is like, he's doing this because he wants his people to be free. But even at the beginning, he's like, no, I don't do heroic stuff this whole time. And, you don't need me. You don't need a hero. I'm like, okay, but I mean, how you're just going to stand by and all your people are just getting shit on every single day. And then he just immediately turns. There was none of that, like, none of them like showing him like the poverty that the city lives in. He never sees any of that. She just kind of tells him that.
Yeah.
And then, he changes his mind instantly.
He was also pretty quick to just accept that there was helicopters, missiles,
yeah,
guns.
Yeah, nothing. There was none of that like fish out of water things that you would see from someone who's been asleep for thousands of years. He just instantly starts flying and catching missiles and dodging bullets and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Then they do show one scene where he gets hit with an Eternium missile and it like actually cuts him, which that was kind of cool. But then that never comes into play again for the rest of the movie.
No, they were using it as fuel on their flying bikes and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, to be a weakness to Black Adam.
I guess they didn't want to do too much kryptonite. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. And so, and then that chick Adriana has a son who was probably the most annoying kid in all of cinema.
More than Short Round.
Yeah, probably just as much as Short Round.
Damn,
pretty close.
maybe.
And what's funny is he definitely feels like the quintessential like 90s movie kid. He reminds me a lot of John Connor from Terminator 2. Where
I love John Connor. What was wrong with John Connor?
Well, I mean, the main thing, like the chemistry between Schwarzenegger and John Connor was
I see what you're saying.
Was very much what they were trying to do with Black Adam and this kid.
They didn't give him it's oddly enough they didn't give him enough screen time to develop that bond, but it was still enough screen time where it was annoying.
Yeah, exactly. It
was a weird duality.
I think that was a big thing is like you never got to see kind of like any moments of vulnerability with the kid. The kid the whole time is just joking around. Meanwhile, Black Adam is murdering people in front of him, like ripping arms off.
Actually, no, it would have made sense if like he saw the kid, it reminded him of his kid.
Yes.
And he was like, they build this bond and this is why I'm going to go and save him.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't do that.
I don't know either. It's very frustrating. But yeah, so the kid is just joking all the time, trying to give him catchphrases, which like, don't get me wrong, that's fine as a setup, but it's just like that the entire time. He's never like, he's never in any point of vulnerability where it's like what if his mom gets killed or something and Black Adam, you know, goes on a rampage of vengeance because of that, because he sees how broken up the kid is and he gets a flashback to his own wife and child who died. Yeah. And then he goes and that's when he decides to be a quote unquote hero.
Yeah.
You
also,
know?
His mom was pretty reckless with him. Like
100%. Yeah.
Like they used him as a distraction to get out of the city with the mercenaries with fucking guns.
Yeah.
Like their
He's
whole
just
plan,
skateboarding around like a 90s
their whole
kid.
plan is I'm going to come with my skateboard. I'm going to give them some tude. I'm going to give them some attitude.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to fly by and go. And like they're not going to shoot him.
Right.
Like, they just like I guess we know they're not going to shoot him.
Yeah. I think that was a real missed opportunity in this movie, and that's what kept, you know, that's one of the things that really kept it from being like an amazing movie to me, because the few moments you get when The Rock is like being essentially Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator 2, when he's like, tell him the man in black sent you, but he's like, no, you got to do that before you kill that guy.
You know, I didn't see the Terminator connection until you said it. Now I can't unsee it. I'm like, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
But they just did. It was badly executed.
Yeah, exactly. And so like when those little moments happen where it's like, you know, he Black Adam does something and then he doesn't quite understand it right, like the sarcasm or whatever, you know. Those were great because you see a bit of Dwayne Johnson's like charisma shining through. But when he's just a stoic robot, it's just kind of boring. And I felt like that was a big missed opportunity. Then we have the Justice Society of America, which was kind of a cool thing. So in this movie,
Hawkman's
Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone.
I liked his costume. Very rarely do I ever like a movie costume better than the comics, but I feel like I like the movie version better than what I've seen in the cartoons and comics. It was pretty cool. I know you weren't a big fan of the helmet. I thought it looked great.
Yeah, my only complaint with Hawkman was the helmet. I felt like was like 2 sizes too big.
Okay.
If they had slimmed it down a little bit, it would have been fine. But it made the rest of his body look small.
And he's a big guy.
And he is a big muscular dude. Besides that though, I liked his mace. I liked the wings. I liked the action scenes with him in it.
I don't know enough about that character comic wise to know if they did it right or wrong. Correct us. But is he supposed to be like Batman, where he's like rich and has? I thought all those powers were like magical, but it almost like it's like the movie couldn't decide if it was magical or like tech,
right?
That he might have built.
Yeah, because like when Black Adam is like starting to tear his wings off or whatever, or maybe it was the demon guy. I don't remember. There's like sparks shooting out. Like, oh, are those robot wings? But from what I remember of Hawkman, he's like a Egyptian warrior or something reincarnated.
Again, I don't know enough, so I'm not even going to venture. But
and that's one thing we should say about the Justice Society is that they are introduced as a pre-established team. There's no backstory to them or anything like that. There's a couple lines of dialogue here and there, like found out about like Dr. Fate, the helmet called to him or whatever, and now he can basically see into the future and make duplicates of himself and do random non-specific magic.
Yeah.
Then Cyclone
Doctor Strange with the helmet.
Yeah,
no backstory.
Yeah, exactly. And then Cyclone does wind stuff, but she's also a computer whiz. And Atom Smasher is just giant man, essentially. He just gets really big and instantly
Which
gets
I wasn't
taken out.
sure if it was him or just the suit, but I guess.
They said he inherited his uncle's powers.
Yeah.
So I think
which was the Fonz, which is kind of funny.
that was funny. Henry, and then he never came back for the entire movie again. Yeah. I was like, man, that's an easy paycheck for Henry Winkler. It's like, just hold your phone up and say like, hey, don't get the suit dirty. I've had it dry cleaned or whatever, and then we'll give you $1 million.
I mean, who knows how much he got paid? But
who knows? Yeah. But I think the Justice Society was fine to me. I think that with someone like Hawkman, though, there should have been like a couple lines of dialogue that kind of explain it, and they were set up perfectly for it. Atom Smasher is new to the team, as is Cyclone apparently.
Yeah.
So we have these two lenses into the Justice Society where they're learning stuff as we are. They learned about the helmet, right?
Yeah.
Which that was used perfectly there, but nothing ever happened with Hawkman. You just accept that Hawkman's really strong and almost indestructible, but apparently not as strong as Black Adam.
Yeah.
He has wings and a spinning mace, and that's about it.
And he can fly, but he also needs a plane.
Yeah, an indestructible plane. Which also, we never saw one instance of the plane being indestructible. It just flies around, doesn't get hit by anything, and then is immediately destroyed.
Yes.
So I think as we were kind of like talking about this, I'm realizing what makes this movie not great is that there's a lot of setup that has no payoff, and then there's a lot of payoff that has no setup.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, we're talking about the indestructible plane this whole time, like, oh, it's made out of this cool material or whatever, and then it just gets destroyed. There's no payoff to it at all. Or it's like there's like this fun, jokey relationship between Black Adam and the small child, but there was never like a lead up to it. It just instantly kind of happened, I think that's kind of the main problem with it.
I wasn't a big fan of the music. I thought it was a little weird, but like when they were playing
Painted Black and all that shit.
It was just a weird, like, while he's murdering people, I don't know. I thought it was a weird choice.
I think that's...
And it was weird because as he was murdering people, it was cool the way he was doing it. So that there was cool shots. It was just a weird choice.
I think Warner Brothers kind of does that to cheap out a little bit because Warner Brothers Music owns a lot of music, I'm sure.
And they can just pull from it. Versus...
same thing with Sony. Sony Music's a big label, so I feel like maybe they cheaped out. It's much harder to get someone like freaking John Williams to come in and create a memorable score for this movie, right? Which it's tough, but it adds to the movie. Like the Avengers theme is so good.
Yeah.
And like every time you hear it come on, you're like, oh shit. And then when each of the characters in the Avengers shows up, they each have their own theme. Captain America has his own one and stuff. And, it's just, I like that a little bit more. But it's fine. I mean, the music didn't really take me out of the movie too much.
There was one weird shot saying that there was a lot of cool shots. It's the where the Rock is flying down and there's like a big close up of like his forehead. And
yeah. That looked a little
weird.
silly.
I saw like a bunch of people putting it on Twitter after. I was like, okay, I'm not the only one that thought it was a little weird.
Yeah, where it's like, I think they do a similar shot of that with Superman in like Man of Steel. But, it's Henry Cavill, so his hair is like flowing. He's got the little curl and stuff, and he's got the cape behind him. But when it's The Rock, he's just a big bald man, flying straight at the camera like, oh, Jesus Christ. Speaking of the Man of Steel, the little end credit scene that actually we see again Henry Cavill donning the red, blue, and yellow.
And it's I thought it was weird. Like when they showed him, I was like, "This is awesome! It's official. He's back." And that's kind of the way I took it. And it wasn't like 2 days later or something that he said, "I am officially back." It's like, oh. Well, I mean, I saw you in the film. Like, I mean, that was official enough to me.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that it's very possible that he could have just shown up and then it was just a cameo and, you know, just a fun little crowd, what do you call it, fan service kind of thing. And that's the end of it. Like, we don't, you know, like, that doesn't mean there's necessarily more Superman movies or more Justice League movies or whatever. But now that the fact that he's like, I'm back as Superman, you know, for real, that leads the indication that there's going to be actually more movies and stuff.
For sure.
So I'm excited for that. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I liked Man of Steel quite a bit.
It's going to be interesting watching them fight. Should be great.
Yep. Now, we should talk about, like, what is the future of Black Adam, right? Are we going to see him in another movie fighting Superman, or is it going to be a couple movies until we see him interact with anybody else from the DC universe?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope James Gunn does have them fight. I have full faith in him that he'll do great. So I don't care. I mean, I know it's going to happen. I don't think they'll do. I mean, DC's never really been great about building movies. They just throw it out there. Like, there it is. We don't need to build 5 movies for one big plot line. Like, we're just gonna do the big plot line. So I don't know. They could just go straight for it.
Yeah, I hope they don't. I hope there's a little bit more build up. First of all, I think it's very strange that we got this movie now, and then Shazam 2 is coming out next year, I think, and Black Adam is not in it, at least as far as we know.
As far as we know, but who knows? He might show up at the end. Right,
maybe at the after credit scene. That's kind of what I want to see. I'd want to see Black Adam show up at an end credit scene of Shazam, and then eventually we'll get a Shazam 3 with the 2 of them in it.
Well, I mean, unless we see his character grow a lot in this next movie, because at this point, at the end of the first one, he's not ready to fucking fight Black Adam. He's gonna get destroyed.
Right.
And at least from the trailers they showed, it seems like it's the same thing. Like, he's still not mastering his abilities. So unless, like, it shows him, like, really progress.
But he's also got the Shazam family.
Yeah. So,
maybe they'll help him out, kind of thing. But I mean, there has to be a little, Black Adam is the Shazam character except black and evil.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, to not have him ever cross over with Shazam in a movie would be kind of strange to me. I think that, we could definitely see him and Shazam, start off as enemies, and then them having to combine their powers to defeat someone even bigger. That's your pretty cookie cutter movie, like a Winter Soldier or whatever. Where we see that change in the character.
So I'm curious if they're gonna bring Senor Ben Affleck back.
Apparently he's coming back in Aquaman. In the next Aquaman.
Okay.
As Batman. So he might be on the fringes of this continued DCEU. I don't know if we're going to ever get a Batman movie again, but we'll see.
A Batman movie would be great, man. Yeah. I know a lot of people didn't like him, but I like him. But I don't know. Now with what's-his-face, Twilight guy, I don't know if they're going to throw him in there, but I don't know if it's like separate universes.
Yeah, they're not, at least to me, I don't think that they would ever throw him into that mainline DCEU storyline, mainly because we've seen movies where all of them interacted with Bruce Wayne, Ben Affleck, Batman. So if they introduce this newer guy and they're like, oh wait, this guy is the same guy who joined the Justice League, that wouldn't really make much sense, I don't think. So I think that'll still be its own offshoot thing. Same thing with Joker 2. I think, if I was James Gunn now, I'd have it so that much like the comic books, I'd have my main storyline, DCEU, and then I'd be able to tell whichever stories I wanted in the peripherals.
Yeah.
And just focus on making those good, interesting interpretations of those superheroes.
We'll see. I wonder who they're going to cast as the Flash now, because Ezra Miller's
It's gone insane.
gonna do some time, probably.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's one thing that's kind of up in the air is we don't know.
But that's easy. I mean, he just starts running really fast, and he ends up in a different, multiverse, whatever.
Well, if you think about it, Ezra Miller's Flash has only been in the Justice League movie primarily, and then there's pictures of him in Batman v Superman or whatever, in the after credits scene or something. So I think that we could definitely recast him fairly easily. I think the main thing is that they have the Flash movie that's almost entirely finished, at least shooting. So do they do reshoots of that? Do they just not release it? What do we do with that one? Because
just redo it. Have James Gunn do it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, I liked The Rock as Black Adam. I think the movie fell short a little bit for me on all those things we kind of mentioned, but there was a lot of good stuff. I loved like Pierce Brosnan and Hawkman, or Dr. Fate and Hawkman's kind of charisma between the two of them and their chemistry. Fantastic. I think that Hawkman and Black Adam working together was great as well. So there was a lot to like. I think a couple things that kind of missed the mark were like not getting any sort of backstory on any of the Justice Society, really. Not enough. Now I don't want like a full flashback of like, oh, here's Dr. Fate fighting the helmet. Here's Hawkman learning his powers and coming to realize it. But I want a couple lines of dialogue explaining it, right? And it could be as simple as Amanda Waller, talking about it under her case files.
I actually love that she's starting to pop up in multiple things.
It's funny that she is like the Nick Fury of this universe, essentially.
Yeah, evil though.
But like an evil version, yeah. So it's kind of interesting. And we did see that she has a bunch of supervillains in like cryostasis under her secret base or whatever. So maybe she becomes one of the future villains of this universe. That
would be great.
That would be kind of fun.
She's a great actress too, man.
Yeah.
She plays the villain.
Yeah. What's her name? Octavia Spencer? Is that her name? I don't remember.
And I also love that they brought the one actress from Peacemaker. That was pretty cool. They showed her. Although, I was like, wait, she got demoted. Well, again, maybe we don't know when this takes place in the timeline, but in Peacemaker, she definitely got demoted to babysitting this B-level, quote unquote hero. Right. Exactly. I was like, Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this? I'm like, oh yeah, he's Shazam. I forgot. The Wizard Shazam, I should say. But yeah, I think it was, there's a lot to like about the movie for sure. I think that, and I'm okay even with the fact that this is a stepping stone towards bigger and greater things to come. So even the fact that it was just used as a setup.
Viola Davis. That's who it was. That's Amanda Waller.
And The Rock is going to be in more projects. I'm excited for it. So
yeah, I think it's definitely leading towards good things. And they don't all have to be like, oh my God, that was the best movie ever. It can be a fun, entertaining one with a few problems here and there. The plot holes are whatever. It's like I can look past that as long as the movie's entertaining and fun, and that's what it was, right?
See,
any last words on that?
No, I mean, I definitely want to watch it again. I don't know if I want to pay to watch it again, but I definitely want to see it again to see if there's any other things I might have missed.
Yeah, I think one of the benefits is of these Warner Brothers movies is they show up very quickly on HBO Max.
I think they said, I don't know if it was Thanksgiving or early December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine they'd want to get it on there pretty quickly because everyone will be hanging out with family. Hey, let's throw on a movie, and then they're like, oh, it's Black Adam,
Yeah.
But I think lots of stuff to enjoy. Yes, there was plot holes. It could have been a little bit better. Also, I forgot to bring this up. When the devil guy brings up his skeleton army, that scene looked shitty. It's all the townspeople in this empty Hollywood back lot.
Hey, but that kid with the dude came out
his hands
and
up.
United everyone. He did the Illuminati sign, and then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, for real, let's do it."
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, I don't know what this guy's talking about, but I believe him.
Yeah.
And then they just instantly followed him. seemed very silly. There was a lot, again, payoff with no lead up to it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, cool, I guess.
It's like, I guess we're going to follow what Brown Bart Simpson is saying, and we're going to go do that.
Kid, help us save Kondak. Nah, fuck you, kid.
Yeah. Fuck that shit.
Who are you? Yeah.
But, they took their pipes. They took their lead pipes and their 2x4s.
Yeah.
Took care of business.
And had literally no problems. Also, I will say this. I feel like Atom Smasher and Cyclone had very little impact on the entire movie.
Oh, yeah. They could have not been there, and it would have been fine.
Also, the Justice Society, because Cyclone and Atom Smasher were like supposed to be new to the crew or something, right?
The two-man crew.
Yeah. They were like, so it's not really a society. It's just two people. I don't know if it's a society if there's four people.
Legal's taken, Cody.
Yeah. Couldn't they have just been called the Super Friends?
No, they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that.
Although they might with James Gunn.
Twins.
James Gunn would definitely do that shit.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he would make it work.
And they would totally have the Wonder Twins.
Oh, absolutely.
And they'd make fun of the one that the one guy just turns into
bucket of water.
A sponge. Ah!
He'll do it for sure.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious.
I love it. But yeah, it was a fun movie, entertaining. Don't expect to be like completely blown out of the water, but it's a good popcorn eating movie for sure. All righty. Getting a lot of messages today. I don't like it. Well, thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you think down in the comments of Black Adam. Is this the saving stroke for DCEU? Is it leading to better movies in the future, better properties? Is James Gunn our Lord and Savior? Let us know down in the comments. We want to hear from you guys. While you're down there, make sure you leave a like, leave a subscribe, click a follow, whatever it asks you to do to help keep us in your ear holes or in your eyeball holes. We do appreciate that. If you want to become a patron of the show, check out patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. Thank you to all of our patrons who already support the show. We do appreciate you guys. You make this possible. Help us buy cables, cameras, all that good stuff. All stuff we need. Christian, thanks for being the little boy from the 90s to my Black Adam.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, dude. Tubular. To all the nerds out there, remember, you're not alone. You're with friends. This is Nerds with Friends. Thank you, and good night.